Well, hey everyone. Welcome to a Tesla full self-driving video at night. So I just got finished at a place called Utah Country Dance, and I am going to drive home. It's nighttime. It's 10:05. I'm kind of sweaty, so we'll put on some air for a second. And as soon as I pull out of this parking place, I'm going to let the car take over. The car is now driving. Let's see if I can adjust this slightly. There we go. Car's taking its time, but it did the unprotected left-hand turn. So I need to go 25 or 26 miles from Provo, here in Provo, to Draper. The only thing I will do is I will adjust speed limits. But yeah, I went to this place called Utah Country Dance, and it's a dance hall. It's mostly a younger crowd. The car is for some reason hugging the lane lines. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but it's making a right-hand turn lane here, and it wasn't in the right-hand turn lane when it should have been, but I let it I let it make that mistake. So that's something that will need to be corrected. But yeah, this place is called Utah Country Dance, and it was yeah, a lot younger crowd, in their early 20s, most of them. I think I was the oldest person there. But I don't mind that. I think the younger crowds are fun because they're energetic, and there's something about that youthful energy and enthusiasm for life that is something I hope to never lose. Is my childlike, or my childlike nature of life, where I'm like an experimenter. The car is really like driving like it's drunk right now. So that's what's called a disengagement. The car was, one, it did not make that left-hand turn lane in the right left-hand turn lane. It was in the right left-hand turn lane, and then it cut the car off in the left-hand turn lane. So let's see if the car can kind of pick itself up and start driving like a normal vehicle. I would say this is the first time I've noticed the car driving any sort of erratically. But it seems like it's recovered now. It just might not be trained very well on the streets of Provo, in the heart of Provo. So that's a possibility. Normally when I do these full self-driving videos, I'm a lot more hands off the wheel. I'm not manipulating the wheel, but because the car's kind of been finicky on this drive, I am much more on guard. But yeah, Utah Country Dance is this place, mostly people in their early 20s, it looked like. I'm 46. I think I was easily the oldest person there. I didn't mind it. I danced with like 5 or 6 people. I did a line dance lesson. I did a partner dancing lesson. And I danced with several people. Let's see what the car does here. There's a semi and a car on the side of the road. So it needs to kind of get over to the left more. let's see, the funnest person I danced with, her name was I'm forgetting. It was a unique version of like Michaela or something like that. But she'd been dancing for years and years and years, and she was very fast, very fluid, and was able to follow all of my moves. Most of the other girls I danced with were kind of rigid and difficult to dance with. But no judgment. There's no requirement that anyone needs to dance well. But I remember my first time dancing. I was like a deer in headlights. So there was this girl, Katie, I danced with, and this was only her second time ever dancing, and I could tell she was nervous, and so I told her it's okay, we'll go slow, no problem. I taught her 4 or 5 moves. I told her she leveled up, she became like a level 4 dancer from a level 1 dancer. I actually find it fun to teach people to dance that have not danced before, because I was fortunate to have people who were patient with me for the first few months when I was learning to dance. Well, the car is kind of figured driving out. It was like kind of drunk there for the first like 5 minutes. It was like, what is going on with this thing? But now we've got a smooth, long highway drive ahead. Like probably 19 or 20 miles or so of just smooth sailing. The car does really well in these stretches. It's kind of relaxing to not have to touch the wheel, except when it gives me the nag screen there. But yeah, nothing too crazy to report after dancing. I like the challenge of going to a new dance place. Well, it's not a new dance place. I just haven't been for a few years. But I didn't know anyone there. So I have to kind of metaphorically parachute myself in there and try to navigate the place and see what happens. And try to form at least a basic connection with the people I dance with. And there's all sorts of types of people to dance with. So that's why I like it. It's challenging for me to talk to people I don't know. It's like another word for it is cold approach. There's different variations of cold approach you can do. There's cold approach just to talk to people and say hi and get to know them. There's something called cold approach pickup, which is trying to talk to, if you're a man, a woman, and see if you have commonalities in chemistry. And, or there's just asking people you don't know to dance. That's what tonight was like. And none of those are easy for me, even though I've been doing it for about 5 years. It still just doesn't come naturally and easy. It's a lot easier to talk to people who I already know, or if I'm like standing against the wall at a dance hall, if a woman comes next to me and lingers near me, that's often a sign she wants me to ask her to dance and talk to her. So I've tried that before, but usually it takes a while for that to happen. So I kind of just walk around and ask different people to dance. But Tesla's doing a good job driving now. How are y'all doing? Different time zones for you all there. I'll call this video "My Tesla Drives Me from Provo to Draper" with a few hiccups. It was kind of an asshole in that one of those left-hand turns. You have 2 left-hand turning lanes like this, and my car was in the right one, and it did the turn, but then it just cut into the other left-hand turn in front of another car, and that car quickly veered to the right, and they didn't honk at me. So kudos to that car for having patience for my Tesla's drunken driving behavior. Tesla's going to release version 12.4 pretty soon, probably in the next couple weeks. This version of the software is supposedly 5 to 10 times better than the version I have now. We will see. But based on how the car was driving there in Provo, I would not let my car drive as a driverless robotaxi in Provo. It was way too hesitant, slow, and it was making all the wrong moves. This is actually pretty peaceful and relaxing, this nighttime drive like this. I'll change the screen so that it's the video game view. Alright, I'm calling it the video game view, just a full screen driving view of the software. Slowing down slightly because that car to the right of me was veering a little bit to the left. I sort of noticed that, but I wasn't ready to do anything about it because it wasn't close enough. But the Tesla saw it. Tesla notices even the slightest movements of cars. So we'll see if I come back to this dance hall in Provo. I do like dancing with the younger women, but it's a lot harder to form a connection with them. And because of the way I am, I'm not like the alpha male dominant type. I'm a very synergistic type of person. I like there to be feedback and dialogue back and forth. I don't want to have to be dominating the conversation or the dance or anything like that. I'm definitely more synergistic with whoever I'm talking to or dancing with. I like to talk. I like someone who has a mind that can converse at a high level. I need that or I'll get bored. But it was good. My body felt pretty good. I was able to lift up a few of the people I danced with. Back and legs and knees felt pretty good. I've been eating a lot of protein, a lot of muscle milk drinks, and a lot of meat with some veggies and rice mixed in. That's just a tip if your body's not healing as fast, or eat a lot of protein and take vitamin C. Car is just driving. One time while I was driving on the freeway, there was a giant box. I had to quickly swerve lanes because I didn't know if it was just a cardboard box or solid box that would damage my car if I ran into it. Luckily, the Tesla Model 3 is very maneuverable, so I was able to swerve and avoid it, no problem. Forming connections with other people. It is, at least for me, not the easiest thing. I have to talk to a lot of people before I meet someone where there's like good chemistry or connection or whatever you want to call it. Like you can see someone who's attractive to you, and even if they think you're attractive, if you talk and interact and it's just dead and dry and the energy's kind of stale and not moving around in a enthusiastic way, nothing will happen. The reason my car says a max of 74 and is going 67 is because the Tesla keeps a good distance between the car in front of it. Especially on the freeway, it'll keep a good distance. And I'm glad it does. It gives time to react if something happens. You never want to drive close to a car anywhere if you can avoid it. Especially the freeway, though. Left two lanes are closed. That's no problem. I'm not in them. There was a sign up ahead, or overhead I should say, that said the left two lanes were closed. Learned something about dancing tonight. There's a move where you're both holding hands in a dancing position, and then you kind of turn while the woman you're dancing with slides behind you. And I learned not to have my arm going over her head while doing that, but to keep it close to my chest. And the reason for doing that is to avoid clocking the woman in the head, which I have actually done once. I did once to someone, and it dazed her for a while, and I felt horrible. So now I learned the exact reason why. You don't flail your arm up above like that. So now I'll be a lot more careful with that particular move. The connections in our lives, I'll go back to that subject while my Tesla is just driving, because it's an interesting subject to me. The connections we form with people in our lives at the different levels. I think for any person you meet, you see them and they see you on a 1 to 10 scale in the following areas: emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical. Emotional is chemistry. How well do y'all connect together? Spiritual is there a sense of knowing about this person? Do you get a sixth sense of a past life, or some kind of inner knowing about the person? And intellectual is what kind of conversations can you have? Can you deep dive on certain topics? Can you about sciencey type things or just intellectual type subjects? Can you talk about dating and relationships with each other? And there's a bunch of construction on the left here, so I have my hands on the wheel. I'm not driving, but I'm ready to take over in case anything stupid happens, basically. Got my hands tight on the wheel, but the car is still driving. So that's intellectual. And then physical, of course, is the physical form of the person and what you think about it. And you take all those and you give them all a 1 through 10. Obviously, if you met someone and you felt a 10 in all of those scores, which I never have before. I have met people where there's been a 10 in a couple scores. One of my ex-girlfriends, on my YouTube channel, she and I had a 10 in a couple of those categories. It was quite unbelievable to experience that. Alright, let's see how the car does here. Whoa. There was a cone like right in the lane, like a few feet in the lane. I wanted to let the car do that. I'm now driving manually. I so badly wanted to let the car handle that, but it was too narrow. It was such a narrow gap that I took over. So I'm going to get away from the cones on the left. And I'm going to let the car drive again. But yes, in your lives, as you've come across people, I think we all do it as humans. We rank people that we meet, even if in the moment we're not realizing it. After we meet them, we will, or maybe it's just me. But I wanted to put some categories and numbers to the people I meet, because at some level I know that they're doing it to me. They are sizing me up. I think it's just natural when you meet someone to do that. But yeah, my best friendships or connections, relationships came with people who had 8s, 9s, and 10s in those 4 categories. There needed to be at least 2 or 3 of those categories at an 8 or higher, preferably a 9 or higher. And if you don't feel that with someone, chances are it's just not going to have the spark required for longevity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a stop at Harmon's and get a snack or something, because I'm kind of hungry. I think it's late night snack time. That's what I've decided. I need something. My stomach will get nauseous tonight if I go to sleep, and I haven't eaten much today, so I need a little something in me before I go to bed. We are getting to the end of this drive from Provo to Draper. That beginning part in Provo was a little rough. There was a couple disengagements on this drive in Provo and on the freeway where there was a construction cone a couple feet into the lane, and I did not want to risk the car smashing into that cone. I was able to navigate the situation, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone runs into that cone that's sticking out. It was not a cone, it's like a construction barrel. Alright, I'm going to take over, and we are going to go to Harmon's here. So this will be called Tesla's FSD. Takes me Provo to Draper with a few hiccups. And I had the air conditioning on the whole time, and it still got under 200 watt hours per mile. That is impressive. Is Harmon's even open? Looks like it. There's a few late night stragglers going in. The late night troublemakers, of which I am one. Well, thanks for watching, y'all, and if you watched this whole video and were listening to my ramblings, I appreciate it. But we'll park next to this Tesla here, this white Tesla, and you can see the parking view kind of outlines everything. Thanks for watching. Namaste. See y'all later.